Hi guys, I'm Lauren and I'm here today to talk about my all-time favorite books. So before I get started, I just want to clarify a couple things. These are just single standalone books and/or books that didn't have a sequel published until years after the first book. So these, for all intents and purposes, are stories that can be read and enjoyed and completed in just one book. I have a lot of favorite series, but if I included it in this video would be way too long, so that's going to be a separate one later on. And I don't have a definitive ranking of these. I don't really want to pick my all-time favorite book because I feel like I love all of these in different ways. So these books are just going to be listed in the order in which I read them, so you can also kind of see my progression as a reader as I get closer to present day. So the first book on this list is the only book I don't have a physical copy of, and I don't really know why I don't have a physical copy because this book has stuck with me for so long. That book is House of the Scorpion by Nancy Farmer, and I have the ebook because it was like $2 on Amazon one day when I found it. You can't really see that, so I'm just gonna put the actual cover right here. So this book is science fiction. Pretty much all of these are gonna be science fiction. This is set in a near future where cloning is a sound science. They've worked out all the kinks and everything. And this book follows a young boy who is a clone called Mateo, and this just kind of goes over his entire life. And it starts when he's very, very young, like 5. And then I think it ends when he's a teenager. It just makes you think a lot about what it means that you are who you are. I originally read this book in the 6th grade when I was 12 years old, and I'm 22 now, and I still think about it. It's really deep, and that's probably why it has stuck with me so far. And this book does have a sequel that was just released a couple years ago, and I need to read it, but I also want to reread the first one first. So I haven't gotten around to reading it yet. Second book I'm talking about today is Heir Apparent by Vivian Van Velde. I think it's Van Velde. This girl gets to go to a VR arcade for her birthday, and she enters this medieval puzzle game. The arcade equipment somehow malfunctions, so the only way she can get out of the game alive is to solve it. It had me hooked from like the beginning straight all the way through until the end because I had to know how it was gonna finish and wrap up. This is one of my favorite books because it is just really entertaining. Like, not every book has to touch your soul for you to enjoy it. So third book is Double Identity by Margaret Peterson Haddix, this author is pretty famous for the Among the Hidden series, which I haven't read. I need to. This book is really short and also really gripping like Heir Apparent is. And I don't really want to say too much because it's kind of a mystery thriller, so I don't really want to end up accidentally spoiling anything. This girl, Bethany, she's being raised by her parents. She's all happy, having a normal life. And then when she turns 13, her parents start getting really weird around her and start avoiding her. They pack everyone up in the car and drive her across the country and leave her with this aunt she didn't even know she had. And so Bethany is left to kind of figure out what the deal is with her parents and why she's being left there with this person, who this person even is. It's really entertaining and gripping. The next book I want to talk about is The Giver by Lois Lowry. I read this in junior high, and this boy Jonah lives in this society that's kind of closed off from everyone else. And when you turn 13 seems to be a magical age. I think it's 12 actually. I don't know, when you are around puberty age. I don't remember the exact, I haven't read this in a while, if you can't tell. But when you turn 12 or 13 in this society, they tell you exactly what you're going to be doing for the rest of your life. So Jonah gets to be picked as the giver, and that means that he receives memories from the world before, which is basically the world we live in now. It kind of changes how he perceives everything about his community and his society. It's a really good, strong coming-of-age tale. I think I will always love it. This book also has sequels to it, but those didn't come out until like years down the line when Lois Lowry decided to write more in this world. And I've been meaning to read the other ones because there's 3 other ones right here. Gathering Blue, Messenger Sun, but I haven't read them yet. I have them right here, I need to read them. Okay, the next book is I think the only non-science fiction book on this list, and that is The Looking Glass Wars by Frank Bedore. I don't know where the dust jacket to this went. It is a retelling of Alice in Wonderland. It basically takes all of the whimsical elements of Alice in Wonderland and makes them like a serious version. I don't know how to accurately put it into words because it's just so good. If you love Alice in Wonderland, or even if you don't, you should totally read this. But one of my favorite aspects of the book, which is probably why I still love it, is the royal family have the ability to basically imagine anything they want into existence. So there's a war happening in this book, there's political conflict and everything. If the queen or the princess or whoever needs a weapon, she can just picture it in her head and then boom, it's right there. That is probably why this book has stuck with me so long, just because the power of imagination actually has a tangible effect in this world, and I think it's a really great concept to play with. I often find myself having dreams where I have this ability. I know this is technically a trilogy, but I did not find out that there were sequels to this until years after I read this one, so in my mind this is still just one book. Next book is Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury. This is classic sci-fi. Part of the reason this is on this list is because I actually read this twice in junior high. I knew this was required reading in 8th grade, but I was so excited by the prospect of getting to read this book that I could not wait. So in 7th grade I ended up reading it for fun, and then I read it again in 8th grade and it was still good. This book is set in a future where the written word is banished. It's illegal to have books or magazines or anything like that. So these firemen, they're called, go around and collect any contraband books or whatever and burn them. This book is really mostly at its core about how the power of the written word and why it matters and why stories and books matter. So if you love reading, which you probably do if you're watching this is the book for you. Next one is Slaughterhouse-Five by Kurt Vonnegut. I read this towards the end of my high school career. It's really great. If you want something that's gonna blow your mind, this book is it. I really love this book because it's such an unconventional way to tell a story. Just the weirdness and quirkiness of this book is the reason why this is on this favorites list. Next book I also read in high school is The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. I talked about this a little bit in my first video, but this is also, oh, I cannot express how much I love this book. Women in this world, their worth is determined by whether they can reproduce. Women can't read, they can't write. All they're good for is making babies because human population is like down low. The reason why this has stuck with me is not because of the plot, although the plot is very good, is because Margaret Atwood's writing is just so literary and lyrical. The way she plays with words and plays on words and has all these associations with words made me stop and appreciate how intricate the English language really can be. Next book is Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. This is another classic sci-fi book I read in college, and just like any assigned reading, I went into it thinking I wouldn't like it because I did not like Brave New World, even though it's sci-fi dystopian, and I generally, if someone assigns a book to me to read for class or whatever, I can't get into it, I don't like it, but I ended up loving this book because I just loved all of the parallels that are in it, and you can see all my notes are still in here. Just makes you think about what it means to be human, because Frankenstein is not the monster. The classic movie adaptation is good as a movie. It really doesn't do Mary Shelley's story justice. If you enjoyed the classic movie or love like Frankenstein in general and you haven't read this, you really should. The next book is Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel, and I read this in college, but this was an assigned reading. I just read it for fun. It's set in the future where most of the world's population is wiped out by a pandemic. It's also a little bit non-linear. It jumps back and forth between the world after the pandemic and the world before the pandemic, and you kind of get to see how it happened. This book really does stick with you. The characters are really intricate. I kind of don't want to say anything else because I personally enjoyed not really knowing much going into this book. I don't really want to ruin that experience for you guys. The last book. This is a long video. Okay, last book I read like towards the end of college for the first time. Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. This book is so immersive and just draws you in and grips you from the beginning, and it's just such a good read that the second I finished it the first time, I immediately wanted to pick it up and reread it. And this is one of the only few books that I will just, if I don't know what to read, I will pick this up and reread it because it is that good. And it's set in a future where basically everyone lives their lives online in this virtual reality simulation called the Oasis. And the founder and creator of the Oasis dies, and he has set about puzzles that are to be solved by the Oasis players, and whoever solves all of them first inherits his entire fortune, which means you basically get control over the Oasis. So it's a high stakes book, and it's a really fun ride. It's obviously one of my all-time favorites, and if you have not picked this up, you really should. I hope you enjoyed this look into my favorite books. If you want to see more from me, I'm going to be posting on here at least twice a week, so hit the subscribe button. I am also on Twitter, Goodreads, and Instagram, so follow me, friend me on Goodreads, I'll friend you back. Comment below, let me know, are any of these books your favorites? What are your all-time favorite books? Do you hate any of these books on this list, or it didn't really resonate with you the same way it resonated with me? Let me know, I would love to discuss any and all thoughts you have. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!